or save them.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. This is America.
YouTube is amazingly resilient to having its people make those comments.
Well, we don't monetize anymore because they took it away. So they probably don't give a shit what we say. We have talked about our assholes a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. All right. I guess if you don't have any questions, I'll apologize now if you actually care to look at me because it's brighter than the fucking sun behind me.
It's fine.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Corey yelled at me. He's like, "You got to buy a light because I can't see you."
No, I think what I had said, at least in my head anyways, was you dumb son of a bitch. You put your desk on the wrong side of the office. You know how to fix this. You're just not going to.
I have a wife that says no.
Yeah.
So
you can't move your desk to the other side of the room.
Yeah, she told me it's got to be over here. I wanted it over there. It's only had to be over here. Because then what do you put over here? Exactly.
A mirror so you can marvel at your own butt cheeks. Over that. Back here.
I have an elaborate mirror set up in the bathroom for that.
Yeah.
I record in a closet, so.
You're not the first person that has been on this show that's been in a closet.
That's true. My wife has claimed that about me many a time.
Recording in a closet, whatever you want to say. Yeah, because I think Erica's in a closet too.
Erica has a freaking sound booth that her husband built for her.
Yeah.
I thought it was in a closet though. I could be wrong. I fucking hate her so much.
No, you don't. You're a big liar.
No, I try and be so mean to her. The last time we recorded, I don't know how often you talk to her.
She and I talk every day.
Okay, well, I get a little drunk doing this. I am already almost through an entire bottle.
Of what?
This barrelage dank wood. I'll talk about it when we get
to the tank.
I drink so much that our listeners are like, you need to start telling people what you're drinking. So we have a little segment where we do what you're drinking. So if you want to start drinking, you need a couple minutes to go get something.
I seldom drink. Although I was in Louisville last weekend, and my fiance enjoys bourbon. Not a lot, but he definitely enjoys trying some different bourbons. And so I tried something with him called Angel's Envy that was really quite amazing.
I'll look this shit up.
Matt is going to order it before the show is over.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
That's true. I like to get drunk and buy things while I'm podcasting too. Is literally like the worst habit I have. To get drunk while sitting in front of a computer. A guy I work with is really into like whiskeys and bourbons. I'll have to let him know. I don't know if you can get it here, but all right. Do you do anything besides Twisted Philly that you want me to mention? I'm sure you don't, but
so we've got Modern Love coming up in August, which is a podcast convention for listeners that's brought to you by the Podcast We Listen to Facebook community. So that's kind of a big thing.
I'm gonna let you talk about that. I just So are you like running it? Are you just
I am one of the organizers, yes, between working a full-time corporate job, traveling for work, being a single mother, having my own show, launching a second show, and now this. I don't fucking sleep, so
I now understand why it took a bit to get you on here. It's fine though. We're happy to have you. So, a quick story. So we took a break last summer, and we were supposed to have a guest for like our comeback episode, and he's a friend of a friend that's been on the show, and he used to be in this band called Whitechapel that I really really like. So I was really fucking excited, and he just stopped talking to me, and then totally fucking just no showed. So, like when. When we passed your date, I was kind of like, oh, it happened again. So I'm really glad that you're not like
and that was entirely my fault. So the problem is that one of the networks that I'm in, they have different Twitter messages going, and Jesus Christ, I mean, I know these guys have jobs, but it's like, I swear there's got to be a couple hundred messages a day, and I can't stay on top of it like that. And so things get buried. and your message got buried, and then I was traveling, and then it was out of sight, out of mind, and I'm like, oh, I didn't hear back from Matt. Maybe he's not ready to schedule yet, forgetting that we had actually talked about a date, and then it got buried under 30 different messages.
It's fine.
So I really appreciate you guys letting me come on today.
Yeah, no,
Deana, don't even worry about it. Matt will literally forget that he's doing this show in the middle of this episode.
I do like your show, and I love watching horror movies and talking about horror movies, so
I hope you at least like this movie. I was pleasantly surprised, but we'll
I was too.
Okay. No fucking around here, guys. Corey, how do I do this again?
You just close your eyes and wish really hard.
All right. Welcome to episode 128 of the Podcast Terror, production of the Galactic Network. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact information, subscription links, go to gncast.com/pot. I'm your host, Matt Stein. With me, as always, is Corey. I didn't think of a good name for you.
Wish real hard, Scott.
Wish real hard. He just kind of closes his eyes and starts jabbing until he feels moistness. How are you, Corey?
I'm still, unfortunately, in the dry.
Still in the dry. God damn it.
A little powdery.
Well, if you don't know your way, just start throwing flour down when it starts to soak up.
You're so gross. You're so gross. Like, I made cookies last night. That is not appetizing at all.
They opened a cookie dough place here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. I don't want to. We have a guest, and then maybe I want her input on the cookie dough situation that we've started here. Our guest this week is host of the Twisted Philly podcast. She's also one of the organizers of a Pattern Love thing that I learned about 2.5 minutes ago. Her name is Deana, because I already fucked it up once. Deana, how are you?
I'm great, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. Don't forget Corey. He gets sad.
Well, I was going to say hi to Corey after I said hi to you, since you asked me first, but...
Deana, you have like the perfect radio voice.
No, I don't. I have this horrible Philly accent.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's actually there's a podcast I listen to that is actually a group from a local radio station out here, and your voice reminds me of the lead woman from that, and she's great. So
that's so cool. Thank you.
Yeah, at least you don't have like a shitty Wisconsin accent.
So you're talking about cookie dough in Wisconsin.
Yeah. So well, now I live in bumfuck Egypt, but the city that I live closest to opened a cookie dough store called Delicious. And it's literally the place you want to go if you want to be a diabetic.
So it's dough. It's uncooked cookie dough.
Yep. It's safe to eat uncooked cookie dough. I believe it's all eggless. Two of my coworkers went and came back, and one had chocolate chip, one had Oreo. They have cookie dough balls, which is just like obviously a little ball of cookie dough instead of a scoop. I think they make malts and shit too. I am hoping to go before it closes, because I feel like it's such a niche market and idea that it's not going to be around for long.
We have places out here called Insomnia Cookies, and they're open until 3 a.m. They open near universities. Mm-hmm. And they deliver. So just imagine you're a college kid, you're cramming for finals, or you're getting your drink on, or you're token up a little bit, and it's 1 a.m, and you could go for some hot, fresh chocolate chip cookies that are the size of a small dinner plate. And they deliver them in pizza boxes.
See, I just assumed that there was cocaine in them.
I don't think so.
No,
well, I don't think there's any coke in them.
The insomnia part, I guess I don't really live in a
No, it's because they're open till 3 a.m. That's why they call it insomnia.
There's I know you mentioned you travel. I don't know where you all travel to, but if you get out to Minneapolis, there's a place called Glam Doll Donuts. It is in Uptown, which is actually south of downtown. Makes no fucking sense. But it's open till like 2 or 3 a.m, and they have really, really, really good donuts. I had a blueberry and Hennessy one time.
Whoa.
Yeah. I felt fancy while being fat.
I think the best, I'm not a huge donut fan, but I love those really unique specialty donut shops just to see what kind of strange combinations they put together.
Yeah.
I think the best donuts in the entire country are in Chelsea, in New York City. It's a place called Donut Plant. It's in the Chelsea Hotel, which is so cool because that place is just full of so much history and memories and connections to rock and roll and the punk scene. But the guy used his grandfather's old recipes, and he started making them in his basement and delivering them on his bike. And then eventually it took off, and he opened up a couple of shops, and their donuts are square. So the filled donuts are square, and I'll get this peanut butter and banana donut. and everything's organic. So even though you're eating a ton of fat, doughy food filled with sugar, at least it's organic, right? So it's maybe healthy. I don't know, probably not. But they fill it from the four corners. So every bite is filled with chunks of banana, and they make their own peanut butter. And so they dip the entire thing in this homemade organic peanut butter. It's holy shit, it's so good.
Corey just came in his pants.
Right? I'm telling you, like, you need to go to Chelsea and go to Donut Plant and try their donuts.
See, around here we have Sift, which is a cupcakery, which I guess is a word. But the owner of Sift was a winner on Cupcake Wars a few years ago, which is the most boring competition food show on the Food Network, honestly, because they just make cupcakes, but you don't really get any idea of what the recipe is they're doing. They're just like, here's a couple flavors we're combining, and then here's a stack of cupcakes, and they look like all the other fucking cupcakes on the show. But Sift is incredible. I used to bring them over to the Twit podcast place that was in town with us. Now they've got one by them, so they don't need me anymore. But man, it is. I agree that there's sort of a niche that things hit of like these weird restaurants. There was a peanut butter and jelly shop that was all they did is they made peanut butter and sandwiches. That was like, okay, that sounds like I could definitely go for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and maybe different kinds of butters, but it's not like they were grinding the nuts there to make the butter fresh. And you realize you're spending $6 for a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and that's dumb.
We had a grilled cheese restaurant maybe about 10 minutes from my house that was only there for maybe a year or two, and then it went out, and it was, similar concept. So any kind of cheese you could possibly imagine, any kind of vegetable or meat with it on any kind of bread, and it was very fun and interesting and eclectic at first, and then it's like, all right, how many grilled cheese sandwiches can I eat?
Right. That's exactly it. I'm amazed. California's got In-N-Out Burger, which is huge. People who grew up with In-N-Out absolutely love In-N-Out, and then they talk about it to every place else. They're fine, but they sell burgers. And
I've had an In-N-Out burger. I don't think they're that good.
Burgers. No. They're okay. I mean, certainly for the price point compared to the equivalent at McDonald's, they're good. But there's nothing special, and there's nothing more. So you go in there, you can order a burger, you can order fries, you can order a drink, a milkshake, I think now a hot chocolate, and a grilled cheese, essentially, if you don't eat meat. And that's it. That's all you get. But the line is across the fucking street to get into the place.
Because of the brand.
Yeah, because of the and because they're decent. They make them fresh and everything, but it's not a huge deal. I don't want to piss off people who are in and out, but that's it. That's all you can go there for. And it's like, if I go to McDonald's, I can at least get nuggets. I can get something else. I can get a breakfast sandwich. There's a choice there. If I'm going in and out, it's like it's a destination store, and I have to have the time to sit and wait. I think that the niche boutique kind of shops are interesting, but that's it. They're interesting for a short period of time, and then they're done, or you're done with them. And some place burgers are hard to get wrong. It's really difficult, I think, to make a burger place and have it unless you're shitting in the burger. Otherwise, it's going to catch on at least enough. But cookie dough, and Matt, fuck you. I take real offense to the fact that it's safe to eat cookie dough because there's not eggs in it. God damn it, eggs belong in cookie dough, and it's safe to eat because it's cookie dough. That's goodness.
I've eaten raw eggs, but I'm also a man.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Puts hair on your chest.
It really doesn't.
No, I can tell you, raw eggs don't put hair on your chest.
It puts salmonella in your chest.
At least the last time I checked, I didn't have any hair on my chest.
Thanks for clearing it up.
It is tasty.
I thought your listeners just might want to know.
Well, they've sat through some of the other shit we've said. We might as well.
That's true.
I spent the entirety of that conversation looking at Donut Plant donut pictures on Instagram. Thanks.
They're insane, right?
They're so fucking amazing looking. And I don't know anything about New York because we have friends who live in Brooklyn that do a Simpsons podcast. And I was trying to talk to Jack about like how long it takes them to get around. Because for them to drive an hour is like 20 miles. And I'm like, in a fucking hour, I can get like 70 miles down the road. Like, it doesn't add up to me that it takes you 2 hours for me to drive, or excuse me, it takes you 2 hours to go around the bay or around whatever. In 2 hours, I can get like halfway across my state.
Well, that's why you don't drive when you're in the city. You take the subway.
None of them have cars.
Yeah, there's no point. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, which makes perfect sense. So I don't know how far Chelsea in New York is from anywhere anything else, but I want to go there. It's a really shitty story. I'm sorry, guys.
I mean, it's lower Manhattan. So if you think about where the theater district is, it's maybe 20 blocks from there.
Fortunately, I've never been to New York. Probably fortunate because I don't like large groups of people.
Yeah, then you shouldn't go there. Ever.
Yeah, listen, Matt, she gave you an in. She said the theater district, so obviously that's where the IHOP is.
There's no IHOP in the theater district in New York.
See, Corey tries to make a joke and gets fucking owned. I keep telling Jack I'm gonna go out there and visit him.
You should. New York is fantastic.
I totally want to go.
And there's ways to avoid some of the crowds. And there's so much history and culture, and the food is insane. Like anything you could possibly want to do or eat or see, it's there.
Maybe I want to see someone eat someone. Can I do that?
You could probably find that.
Okay.
It's true.
This is literally the weirdest thing I could think of, and I'm sure you can find somewhere to go.
Well, there's probably some little boutique shop that's opened up that has human flesh for sale, but it'll only be there for about 6 months.
I feel like a cookie dough place would last longer in New York, not in fucking Appleton, Wisconsin.
Did you guys remember that canned fake human meat that they sold for a while?
Human meat?
Yeah, it was.
No, I don't remember that.
All right, so it was they sold a meat that was supposed to taste like human flesh. First of all, I want to know who set in on the taste test for that to determine that this is that's accurate. That tastes like a Jamaican gentleman that I once knew. They sold this. It was not actual human flesh, but it was meant to taste just like it. And this was a business for a little while. They developed this, and they like.
But who could possibly validate that?
That's what I was wondering, if they went to some weird nation where that's okay. But my thought process was, the Real Dolls?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not bringing something up that is really going to make me feel a little questionable about myself. So I thought, well, what a perfect opportunity, because the Real Dolls to me don't seem like it's a sexual device for people who want to have sex with actual women. It seems like something for people who are necrophiliacs, but just haven't committed. So you get a real doll, and it's like having sex with a dead person. So why not combine the two? Why not sell a human meat tasting real doll, and have yourself a party?
The thoughts of Corey Scott do not represent the thoughts of all of us at the podcast here.
You know that they do.
I just saw a special about the guy who invented the real doll last week, and they're developing AI and making them slightly animatronic. And there's an app where they learn the more you interact with them, and
hopefully they can learn to make a ham sandwich.
But does it taste like human flesh? Because
I don't fucking know. I don't want to know. Oh my god!
A real doll. No one in the right mind should eat it.
Aren't those things thousands of dollars?
I'm fairly sitting there about $5,000. I'm gonna look it up right now because that's what I do here. World's finest love dolls. Well, if I'm not on a government list.
I think they cost the same as probably your first 3 or 4 cars.
Build your own.
Build your own.
You customize it. You choose the hair color and the eye color and the cup size.
I don't remember that activity at Legoland.
I'm gonna just quickly customize my own sex doll here, guys. Wow.
Have you seen the movie Lars and the Real Girl?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
It's actually a really good movie, but that's what it's about. He has a relationship with a real doll and brings her to dinner at his sister and brother-in-law's house and drives around in the car with her. And
yeah, my wife has watched the documentaries about the guys with the real dolls, and man, I don't begrudge anybody having a need for companionship, and I don't have a problem with people who have fetishism, as long as it's consensual stuff, and I guess it's consensual with a doll. Do either of you watch Silicon Valley?
Yes.
No.
You can get one that looks like Stormy Daniels.
And it probably costs less than $130,000.
I don't know. They start at $6,000, but I'm still customizing.
Good for you. So this season on Silicon Valley, the guys are their business it's trying to get other companies to come and put stuff into their server. They're making a new internet, and one of the companies that the people who gave them a lot of money is associated with is somebody who's doing this AI, and in that AI place they had this female bot type creature that was just a torso, but her intelligence was great and she was learning, and the main guy wound up talking to her and gave her all these, like, he just sat there and babbled on like I do, and he basically fed her enough information to make her question the relationship he had with the guy who created her, because he's sort of abusing her when no one else is around, and not like it's just she doesn't have a choice, and she thinks like she should have a choice and stuff, so she runs away from him and gets in an Uber and takes off and everything, so disappears. But she's just a torso. She's just a robotic face, really weird, and a torso. And over a couple of episodes, the whole thing breaks down. The guy gets ousted from his company, and one of the guys, Jared, who works for the Silicon Valley guys for Pied Piper, develops sort of feelings for her and interests in her. And then they decide that they have to take her back to the company, which is now being run by somebody else. And then you just see her face get stripped off, and she gets stripped for parts, essentially. And I'm like, oh, great. So Silicon Valley finally put a female character storyline into the show 4 seasons in, and they finish it by ripping her face off.
That sucks.
You can customize the nipples on a real doll.
I would imagine you could customize just about everything if you're spending that kind of money.
Can you make them out of those donuts?
Insane.
And come at it from all corners?
You're just sticking your dick in a donut then at that point.
Or at any other point.
That's true. Corey, why are you putting your dick in a donut?
Because muffin would feel weird.
Jesus. Oh my God.
Poppy seeds are grainy.
I would suggest getting a roast beef from Arby's. I saw them like load it onto the slicer, and it was all wiggly and jiggly. And I'm trying
to convince myself to go to Arby's because they have their gyros right now, and all the Greek places around me pretty much have closed up and gone away. And I just really want a gyro so bad. But now I don't want it in that way.
Do you honestly think Arby's makes a good gyro?
No, I'm sure that they don't. But if it's the only chance I got,
don't get the gyro fries, because the picture is a plate that's like a dinner plate size, and it comes in a tiny fucking cup, a cup full of sadness and disappointment, and a couple onions for $3.50. $3.50 here, so it's probably like $9 in California.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just want some lamb. Is that so wrong?
It's pretty easy to come by here. Like, and I'm actually super impressed. We now have a ramen place, which is very, very good. I know I made friends.
But don't you feel weird about that?
Why?
Don't you feel weird that the college staple of ramen, which everybody bought because it was 35 cents for a meal,
is now like highbrow dinner place?
Right.
No.
And it's mostly because we've been bastardizing ramen for years and just been eating the freeze-dried bullshit and nothing that's actually tasty. But
not only that, but every ramen place ever in the history of the world can soft boil an egg 10 times better than me.
Yeah.
So I'll fucking take it. I like food a lot.
We have gotten to the point where the first half of our show now just is always going to be some sort of food talk.
Well, a lot of
probably better than weather.
A lot of the times I don't get to talk to Corey all week, so we use the first half of our podcast to catch up.
Yeah, as well you should.
Yeah, and then we just make people around the world listen to it because we're assholes.
You have that power.
We have that power.
Although what the people do ask for, Matt, is what you drinking?
Give the people what they want. Let me take a drink first because I'm parched. That was to prove that I was actually drinking it. So
that's what Matt sounds like when he's on his real doll.
You can get a removable vagina.
What?
You have to pay extra for it to be a permanent vagina. So
yeah, you want the removable because sometimes you don't want to watch the whole thing.
You're gonna cum it up so bad that you got to pull the fucker off to put a new one on. That's what that's telling me, because the removable is default. And if you want a permanent vagina, you're a sick fuck, because you're gonna continue to stick your dick in your own crusty jizz.
And that's Matt's views on marriage.
My wife's not here, so even if she couldn't hear me. But I have Founders Dankwood. It's an Imperial Red India Pale Ale aged in bourbon barrels. Corey likes to make fun of me because I say I drink one beer, but the bottle is like a fucking wine bottle.
Yeah, it's a massive beer.
Yeah, it's like 13%. So, yeah, my face is already starting to go numb. And then as a backup, because I didn't know if this would be good, it's River West Stein from Lakefront down in Milwaukee, because my last name is Stein.
And I'm drinking Rat Bastard root beer. Says it tastes like a son of a bitch. and it has on the label next to that, you have to flip it over, which is weird. It's us against them. I don't know what that's implying. Did I just join a cult?
There's a clothing
company. Good, but I've had better.
There's a clothing company in Southern California called Us Versus Them. I like it a lot, but their clothes are very expensive.
Well, I'm drinking Perrier because I'm a douche.
Dude, I love Perrier.
I know, I do too.
Is there vinegar in it?
It's
that doesn't make sense.
What? I love sparkling water. I'm not drinking alcohol right now, but I will share what I shared with Matt and Corey before we started recording. I had a bourbon when I was in Louisville this past weekend. It's called Angel's Envy. It is fantastic. It's got a bittersweet chocolate nose to it, and then the flavor is warm and toasty. And I very seldom drink alcohol, so it's the kind of thing I might have had like maybe 2 sips off of my fiance's glass as he's trying to sip it himself. But it was incredibly flavorful, really, really special. So it's called Angel's Envy. I sound like a douche. Why?
Because your noses and your chocolate notes. And
all I know is that whole description just made me forego the need for a real doll, because that was exquisite.
Oh, yeah, no, it sounds fucking amazing.
Well, so I learned that from my friend. I don't know if you guys listen to her show, Juliet Miranda, who is the host of the Unwritable Rant podcast. She is like the baddest bitch I've ever met. She's amazing, and I use the B word with all the love in my heart. She and her husband really know their bourbon, and I'd never had bourbon in my life until I started connecting with them. And Jeremy and I went out to Chicago to spend some time with them over the winter, and I just asked her questions like, okay, what's mouthfeel? Because the first time I heard someone say mouthfeel about bourbon, what went through my head. I'm like, all right, well, I can think of a mouthfeel, but I don't think you're talking about alcohol. And so she explained to me it's very similar to wine, with the nose and the legs and all the descriptors of wine. So, and my fiance really enjoys bourbon. So I've been trying to educate myself a little bit so that I can just be a bit more knowledgeable when my friends are talking about it. So I don't sit there like a douche who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, which I can appreciate. I have a story, but before real quick, one of our frequent listeners and a really good friend of our show works for a distillery out in California, Sutherland Distillery. He actually sent me a bottle of their Diablo Shadow. It's fucking good. So, Mason, I know you're listening. So send me a message, because I'm going to forget because I get drunk, to get you in contact with Deana so that you can get some of your shit to her fiance.
Oh, wow.
There.
Holy shit, that would be amazing.
Yeah, no, it's super good. He's hooked me up with a bottle, and he's been really, really great to Corey and I. So I figure I might as well spread the love. A great mouthfeel, cheese. Just gonna throw that out there now. But I think I'm under 100 bottles of beer in my basement now. And like my buddy, because my wife and I moved almost a year ago into the house we're in now, and I set up a big ass shelf for all my cellaring beers. And they came over for the first time, and his girlfriend is going through culinary school. So she was like, oh, I bet he knows all the flavor profiles. And I said, no, I just know which ones are really good and which ones are fucking terrible. and that's like, the people who like drink a beer and they're like, like, look at the ribboning and the chocolate notes. And I'm like, just shut your cocksucker and drink it. Like, either it's good or it's not good. And so I can appreciate that you know enough to like be dangerous, but you're not pretentious about it. So
I just want to learn more so that I'm able to understand what they're talking about.
That's true. So which, yeah, I get. I'm going to is that next weekend? 2 weeks? No, next week. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday is Dark Lord Day. So Three Floyds in Indiana does their Dark Lord beer release, and it is insanely fucking hard to get tickets, and it is incredibly expensive. But they have bands like Pig Destroyer and Dying Fetus that play, so it's like a mecca for people like me. But that is so on Friday night, every hotel in the area has a big bottle share, so people are like starting these lists, and those are the type of people that go to those things. So I told the buddy that I'm meeting from Kansas, I'm like, let's just get White Castle and get drunk in our hotel room. That sounds cooler than hanging out with douchebags. So I'm sure that's what'll happen. Plus, it's the only time I can eat White Castle because there's none near me.
Yeah, we don't have any white. There's some in Jersey, but we don't have any out where I am.
Where are they?
In Jersey. Are you laughing at my accent?
Yep, I'm like, there it is. It's first time it pointed out. I do want to mention that Deana was a little nervous because she has a quote unquote shitty Philly accent. I believe it was what you said.
Oh yeah, I say that all the time. It's not as pronounced as someone from Northeast Philadelphia. It's not quite as pronounced as someone from Delaware County. Like there's different variances and dialects. If you listen to Erica, her voice and her accents and intonations are a little different than mine. It just depends on which part of the city or the burbs you spent most of your time in. But it slips out hard sometimes with certain words, like Jersey.
Which is fine. I get made fun of because I say bag.
You say what?
Bag.
Like you're begging for something?
No. You carry that in a bag.
Oh, a bag.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So when I go down to Kansas to visit my friends, they like get me drunk and they're like, say bag, or words that should have a long A, but I say with a short A because of how I was raised. And at one point, my buddy's his girlfriend at the time looked at me and she goes, "The drunker you get, the funnier you sound." I'm like, God, fuck you all.
My wife goes full Wisconsin every once in a while, and she sounds strangely like she's in Fargo. I don't know what area that she grew up in that became prominent, but yeah, it's hilarious to me. But then I grew up, everyone thinking I sounded weird because I was born and raised in Michigan, but I didn't sound like anybody else from Michigan. Like one of my best friends, she just said, "You don't belong here." I'm like, "Thank you."
Get out.
Yeah. At least so the city I grew up in, I hate to call it a city because it's not in a city, but it's called Sheboygan. It's on the lake between Green Bay and Milwaukee. If you've ever seen the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, I can place where it is.
Okay, so I landscaped for a number of years before I moved out, and we used to make fun of people because they would always just want to go get a soda. So this one guy would be like, "You guys want to go get a soda or no?" You sound like you're fucking gargling cum.
At least you call it soda, though. Michigan, we call it pop.
Yeah, I don't get pop, and like it's always been a soda, but the whole like soda. You want to get a soda?
Sounds like he's saying saw.
Nope, soda, but there's a W in there somewhere.
We have pop and soda in Pennsylvania. So out here in Philly, it's soda, but as you get closer to Pittsburgh, it's pop.
Why?
I don't know. And we use hoagie out here at Philly, in Philly.
Sub sandwich?
They say sub out in Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania. I wonder if they're pulling more of Ohio, Indiana, because Philly is so different than the rest of Pennsylvania. There's one of my daughter's teachers, he told this joke, and I think it's brilliant. He says, if you're traveling west from Philadelphia, do not get out of, and you get past a town called Coatesville, which is maybe 45 minutes to an hour outside of the city. And you get that far, don't stop until you get to Harrisburg, because it's like, there's nothing. There's just nothing. It is so rural. It's all farm country. That's where a lot of the Amish are. And obviously there are actual cities and human beings that drive cars and use phones, but Philadelphia is so very different than the rest of the state.
I got stuck in Bethany, Missouri once. The first time I ever went out on tour, that our van broke down there, and we got to a Walmart parking lot, and it's like August in fucking Missouri, so it's hotter than sin. People keep stopping to stare and talk to us because they've never seen anyone that look like us before, because there's like 4 dudes without shirts that have tattoos, so it's very strange to them. And someone actually told us to go, yeah, we drive 45 minutes just to go to this Walmart. And it's like a fucking all-day event that these people drive 45 minutes to go to Walmart to get their grocery shopping done. Someone tried selling us a puppy.
Aww.
Oh, I love dogs. I have 3 of them, but at that time, I did not need a dog.
I'm in Northern California. 4 dudes without shirts and tattoos. It's pretty fucking normal out here.
Yeah, no, same thing here.
Not in Bethany, Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did call that the One Night in Bethany tour, though.
That's funny. I like that. They probably thought the circus was in town.
I'm fairly certain it was something was amiss because, you know, outsiders were there.
Well, it was pretty close. It was an ICP show.
I've been to a few. So before let me see how long into this we've rambled. All right, so we're half an hour into this. We have not been told what your show is about or what the Potter and Love conference is about.
Well, I would be happy to tell you both.
Please do. It's worth your while.
Twisted Philly is a show about mischief and mayhem, mystery and murder, all from the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection, which is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It also expands outside of Philly, and I hear stories from different parts of the state as well as Philly. So there's history and paranormal. There's some true crime. There's tourism, legends. It's really whatever I feel like talking about week to week. But it's all from Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. And Modern Love is the first podcast convention for listeners. It's sponsored by a Facebook podcast community called Podcasts We Listen To, which has almost 20,000 members now, which is insane. So if you're looking for a group of like-minded people who like listening to podcasts, if you're looking for some new podcast recommendations, it's a great online community to join. And the group got so big that everybody thought, well, shit, we could do our own convention. And so that's what we're doing. So it's sponsored and run by probably about a dozen different podcasters, indie podcasters. It's this August in New Orleans, Louisiana on the 10th, 11th, and 12th. And you can find out information about what podcasters are going to be there. There's going to be live shows, panel discussions, Q&A, workshops for people who are thinking about starting their own show. You can get all the information about it, tickets, hotel information at our website, which is www.podern.love. And Podern is Podern.
Do all of that. I kind of want to apologize that it took a half an hour of rambling and fast food talk to let you explain what you do.
I don't know. I was having fun just shooting the shit with you guys. So it's all good on my end.
All right. So let's go back to what we were talking. Yeah, I figured you.
Well, I want to ask, Deana, you're doing something about where you live, and I'm getting more familiar with other shows that do that. We had a guest on recently who did a true crime podcast that takes place primarily in Alaska, where she's from. And I'm really into this idea of podcasts that are local. It's kind of like a local radio show, except not the morning wackiness or just the random top 40 music, but something that's about what could be your community that is available to everybody, but still meant to be better for the people who are from the area that are familiar with it. Even if you don't live there anymore, or you're thinking about moving there, you can kind of pick up on stuff like that. What made you choose to do that specifically, as opposed to something that might have been a little bit more global?
I love Philadelphia so much. I have lived in the Philly area my entire life, and I'm a tourist in my own city. I always have been. So growing up, that was the way my father was. We toured the places that most kids would only see when you did a day trip for school when you're in second grade. We were doing that stuff all the time. And I love the history of this city. There's also a lot of dark history in this city. I mean, in 1985, the city of Philadelphia dropped a fucking bomb on a residential neighborhood, destroyed 2 city blocks, killed 13 people. So probably for all the things I love about Philly, there's a lot of messed up shit in this city. And for me, it was like, well, I want to talk about something that I'm comfortable with, and I want to talk about something that I'm passionate about, with the hopes that other people might get inspired by that passion and want to listen. And I get a lot of people who reach out to me and say, I live in Texas now, but I grew up in Jersey, or I live in Florida, but I grew up in, Delaware County outside of Philly. And I feel like I'm home listening to your show. And then I'll get folks who are local who say, holy shit, I didn't even know this place existed. I'll do, and it's such a mix, right? Because around Christmas, I do an episode that's always about where I think are the best places to celebrate the winter holidays, whether it's you want to go look at lights, you want to go shopping, you want to take the kids to see Santa. So sometimes it's really light stuff like that. I did an episode about my favorite horror movies that were all shot in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. And then I'm talking about a serial killer, or I'm talking about some kind of crazy crime spree that happened in the cornfields that nobody knew about. People were stealing tractors and murdering each other. So I mean, really, it is such a broad range, but I love this city so much. I do. I'm completely addicted to Philadelphia. And so that was really why I chose that as my topic.
That is great. I don't
It's
have a sense of community like that. It's sad because it's not that I don't love where I live or love the people that I live around or anything. I'm just such a homebody. I would have to do a podcast about this office, which I probably could because this place is trash. But I totally appreciate the idea of that. And if there was something about the places where I grew up and I could go and listen to a show about Taylor, Michigan, or at least Wayne County, I would probably enjoy that a lot. Maybe there is one, and now I'm kind of wondering if I should go look for it. I'll wait until the show's over, unlike Matt, who's shopping for shit right now.
Well, there is a podcast hosted by a Michigander. It's called Already Gone. So it's all true crime, and most of the episodes are about unsolved cases. Not every episode is from Michigan, but the large majority of them are. And the host, her name is Nina. It's a great show. I don't do, I have some true crime, but I don't do that all the time because one, I like so many other things besides that. Like I listen to so many different types of podcasts. And so I created a podcast that's like, well, this is kind of what I would like to listen to. So I guess I'm a selfish bitch because, I want to hear ghost stories and I want to hear history and I want to hear movies. And so I just put in whatever I want. And a lot of the true, like I can't listen to true crime a lot back to back either because it just gets really depressing. So, but
fuck yeah, it does.
Yeah, but that being said, Nina's show is really well done. Her voice is beautiful. Like when you listen to her, listening to me is like fucking nails on a chalkboard when you hear her voice. Her voice is unbelievable. Yeah. But it's from Michigan. It's pretty much all from Michigan.
I'm definitely going to check that out.
Rebut Corey's comment. So we once again got some money for our Amazon affiliate. So thank you for everyone who's been using it. I had to scold my wife because she keeps fucking spending it on me. He's drinking. He's just going throat deep on some root beer right now.
I'm confused. Why is it not okay for her to spend it on you? She's spending it not on you, but she's spending the money.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying to buy a real doll on Amazon using our Amazon affiliate money that we've been getting. And she fucking did. Okay, so Deana's backstory. My wife does small animal rescue stuff. Very sweet. Yeah. Super sweet, super awesome. So she bought rabbit rescue stuff. So currently my hard work of getting drunk on the internet, not editing my shows, and talking about fast food is benefiting her rabbit rescue.
Well, it's a team endeavor.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a real doll rescue. And
Corey's gonna rescue all the sticky jizzy real dolls.
I mean, I'm not gonna do it because I'm not touching any of that. But a lot of places are gonna just randomly caught on fire, and you're gonna smell some propylene.
I never thought about that though. If you don't get the removable vagina, how do you clean your real doll?
Hot water.
You've got to put the whole thing in the tub constantly.
I'm sure they make cleaning products. I don't think I want to go down that dark internet hole of research to look up real doll cleaning products.
That's a dirty, sticky rabbit hole we don't need to go down. But that thought just popped in my head.
I have long hair and I'm still a wash and go guy. I just there's a level of care that would take that I'm just not comfortable with.
He's not wrong.
Have you ever, that scene in Rambo, or actually in First Blood, when they're spraying them off with the fire hose?
Oh yeah.
Or the cell. You just the scenes in the cell where the guy's just hanging from the ceiling. I imagine that you got it up there and you just run it like through a car wash or something.
Could you imagine you show up at a car wash to wash your car, one of those self washes, and there's a guy in the next stall hosing down his real doll? Oh my god.
It cost me $20 because I kept reapplying.
I want to know how I would react to that situation. God damn it.
God damn
It's also like concerning that part of me is like, I wonder what I would do. Be like, hey man, can I fuck it? Can I take it for a spin real quick?
Oh, Jesus.
You mind?
I don't, man, no, not okay. No. Do you know why? Because
Corey,
you ever have a friend try to loan you porn? And you're like, I do not want to know what your porn tastes are. I do not want to be involved in anything. Like, you can't lend me a movie. I don't even care if it's like My Kink 2. Just don't give me, because then I'm going to be suddenly like in the midst of it and like, but fucking Joey over here watch the same fucking scene. Stop probably in the same. Why is this part of the tape like ground up and shit? Why is it gets a little stretchy here? Because every fucking time this is where Joey was done. I don't need that image in my fucking head. No, thank you. Nuh-uh. Not gonna happen.
So I have so many porn stories. I'm only gonna tell two. I do remember someone gave me a VHS pornography, and I think it took me like a fucking solid year to get through 2.5 hours of porn because you'd stop every 45 seconds when you're done. Am I right? High five? No, right? Crickets.
No high five. No high five. Wipe. Get a wipe.
Now I have one. Now I have physical property that doesn't make me ham sandwiches. Just kidding, Deana. I love my wife. I didn't want you to get offended.
But he loves ham sandwiches more.
I love ham sandwiches way more. So we own a film called Erotic Dimensions. It is a 3D pornography. We have watched it once, and the weird part about it, it was me, my wife, and a very good friend of mine, James from Kansas, sitting in my living room in our apartment wearing fucking 3D glasses watching porn. I've never watched it since that day.
No, because it's ruined.
No, it's not that, but do you know
it's
what
absolutely ruined?
Do you know what the 3D effect is?
In your porn.
The money shot is the 3D effect.
Why did I know you were going to say
it's
that?
Fucking like belly button to thigh of a dick, and it's just which is right at your face, and it's like 4 dudes because the chick is on like a fucking turntable and she's getting fucked by all these dudes, but it's like softcore. It's like maybe a single X. No one's getting pooped on, like the stuff I'm into.
It's like the Jaws 3D of porn. In which case, now I want to see Jaws where it's just a giant dick the whole time, chasing people down at the beach.
Do you think you can make
3 guys in a boat sitting there having this heartfelt conversation about their past, and a dick jumps up,
bigger boat,
bites one of them out of it? Yeah, exactly. I mean, isn't that what dicks are doing? Is looking for the man in a little boat?
My God,
you should pitch a porn movie called Dick NATO 3D.
Oh God,
where a man's dick? No.
First of all, I'm not pitching.
100 men's dicks get ripped off by a tornado.
Or catching. Thank you.
Then they fucking. That's what Sharknado is. A tornado full of sharks. This is a tornado full of dicks, and it's looking to fuck.
Starring Ian Zerling because he still needs a check.
Oh man, I think we're sitting on a fucking gold mine here.
God, that was good. That was so funny. I fucking love those Sharknado movies. I know they're so bad, but I love them.
What the hell did I have? Megalodon versus giant octopus.
Did you say Megalodon?
No. Megalodon. It's like it's not a porn.
Don't go back on it now.
I would tell you if I watched Megalodon. I kind of want to see if there's a Megalodon.
Just a dong that thinks a lot of itself.
He's looking for that now, right?
I'm thinking. I did watch Dick and Morty. It's not very good.
Jesus Christ.
I've watched The Simpsons pornography because I'm an avid Simpsons fan, and it's still weird to watch Marge getting plowed.
I don't think I would want to see that. I don't think I'd be able to watch the regular Simpsons after seeing that.
Deana, there's some shit going on upstairs.
First of all, the regular Simpsons isn't watchable anymore anyways. But second...
I can't masturbate to the new Simpsons episodes.
Is it because you have an issue with Apu? Is that your problem?
He's
Is my dick racist? No, there was, I think, Dig. I'm on a couple of different mailing lists, so it's either Dig or maybe a Reddit or one of those things. Sent out something, and every once in a while they talk about some new, like, weird porn parody. And there was oh God, what was it? Was it it was probably a Pokemon one. Yeah, because the Pikachu looked like a fucking nightmare. And this is a porn for somebody. Like, what are you going for here? What is it supposed to accomplish?
There's clearly, oh man,
oh no, it's not okay. It's not okay.
Pokemon porn. I wanted to see what this Pikachu looked like.
Is it animated or is it people wearing those giant stuffy costumes?
It's people wearing regular costumes because there's somebody dressed up like Ash or somebody dressed up like Misty. And I know that there is a fucking giant community out there of people who are just waiting for their Misty porn. Probably not waiting. I would imagine that it probably exists.
Yeah.
Well, in this, it exists in this. But then there's a woman who is in a costume that looks like Pikachu, except everything cute and small and adorable about Pikachu gone. A fucking nightmare face straight out of the worst horror movies you've ever seen, and then apparently yellow vagina, because why not? Someone took the time
to
make this.
To come give you a hug? Because you're sounding sad right now.
I don't want to be touched right now.
Oh, so your 20-minute refractory period?
It's this is why my dick doesn't work anymore. That's why.
I know my dick works
like this. The internet has ruined penises around the world.
You sound upset by that.
Well, actually, penises around the world sounds like a great 80s movement for charity. Why did Michael Jackson have to die before we got to this?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Who's there before that?
I love Michael Jackson.
I agree.
I don't. I
actually
never cared for his music.
Made Off the Wall. Off the Wall is such a good album.
Oh my God. I'm going to need more beer if you guys are going to keep talking about this.
That's the first album I bought for myself with my own money. It was Off the Wall.
Do you, man? Okay, so I'm...
It's because I'm old.
And I'm younger than you two. Because, Deana, sorry, you just kind of aged yourself there. Nothing wrong with that. I was just going to say the first album I bought with my money was the first Godsmack album.
No.
Yeah. And now I play Godsmack as a joke at band practice because it's not good. Not good at all.
Are they the ones who did Voodoo and the other song that was also Voodoo?
Yep. I saw
Godsmack. What was the other song?
Voodoo.
Well, yeah, but there was Voodoo, and then there was another song that was exactly Voodoo, except it was called something else. And if you sang the lyrics for one song over the other song, they worked 100%. I
actually don't know.
I swear to you, it's like when you've got fucking "What's Up" by Four Down Blondes playing on the radio, and then you sing "Don't Worry, Be Happy" because they're the same fucking song, and they're both awful. That's what it was like with Godsmack.
Whatever you've said, like I've heard that before, but I don't know what the second song is.
Like Nickelback, I know that there was one that they actually combined the songs in a video at one point, and they just played them over each other, and you could hear the whole thing happening. I assume that's a producer thing. I assume that you have a producer and like, yeah, we got to make a hit as big as your ballad from the first album, so let's just copy the chords off of that and do the same tempo and everything.
That's so shitty.
Oh, it's absolutely shitty, but it's such a 80s and 90s thing to do. And it's not like music now doesn't sound all the same anyways, but it's at least producers who are trying to.
It's so much more difficult to find good music now because everyone and their fucking mother can put their music on Spotify or iTunes or YouTube. And that's coming from someone who has their music on Spotify. It's very easy. It's like a $35 fee. It's not difficult. But yeah, even as someone who like still seeks out new music, it's very difficult to find good new bands.
Well, I think it's how do you search for new music? Because is it through a community? Is it through your app? The Music Genome Project that Pandora did was good for a little while, but it seemed like all roads led to Chili Peppers, and I just can't fucking handle the Chili Peppers. Like, I don't understand. This station was Frank Sinatra, and all of a sudden I got Anthony Kiedis bebopping in my fucking face.
So personally, I listen to Spotify. I pay for the subscription. So they give you like a Discover Weekly and new releases and all that. And I've found a handful of bands that I didn't know would have existed because of that, just based on the weird shit that I listen to. But also just by talking. Like when we have band practice, because I like an idiot drive like 140 miles to get to band practice, we sit around and talk and listen to music and drink a couple beers because I've driven 2.5 hours. Like, this needs to be worth my time. So I find a lot of bands that way, or reading the PRP or Metal Sucks. I find bands that way too, or playing with other bands. Like, playing shows, you find bands that you like because sometimes they're pretty fucking good, and it's now easier because their music is available. Like, when I first started playing out, 14, 15 years ago, you had to buy the band CD, and like there's a couple bands that I played with in the first band that I ever toured with, whose music I had to put on my phone so I can actually still listen to it if I ever wanted to, because it doesn't exist anywhere else.
Right.
And it's crazy to think about. Yeah. It's I can get into like a weird old man rant about how I didn't have a cell phone when I was 6. Like, I got one when I was 16 only because I got a driver's license, and all you could do on the thing was make phone calls.
Dude, I had a car phone. This thing was mounted in my car.
My mom had a big car phone. I remember that motherfucker right in the center of our Dodge Caravan.
Yep, it was like a console. My father got it for me.
Yep,
it's fucking spoiled. But I listen to you talk about Spotify and stuff, and I think about, and you probably didn't go through this, but when I was buying music when I was young, I mean, shit, I think I might have been 10 when Off the Wall came out. And I was so excited buying my first album with my own cash, but you'd hear a song on the radio, and it's not like you could buy one song.
Nope.
You were dropping $20 on a cassette, and then the same thing when CDs came out, praying to God that all the other songs were just as good as that one song you would hear on the radio over and over.
Yeah, I remember a lot of the times, even when I was younger, buying an album and just skipping. So Metallica's Load came out. Fuck, I don't even know. I was like 11, 96. And I just remember skipping to Until It Sleeps track 4, because that's the song that was always on the radio. And then King Nothing was 5 or whatever. And now going back to it as an adult, I'll listen to it all the way through because it's a good album. It's not a good Metallica album, but it's a good album. That's a different discussion. I had to get it out there so no one would say anything. But now as an adult, I find myself listening to full albums. So this band called Alter Beast came out with a new album. And if either of you have heard of them, I would fucking lose my mind because I'd be so surprised. But
I've heard of them because you've mentioned them before.
Yeah, so Alter Beast has toured with my friends in Reaping Asmodea a bunch, and they're touring again. So when they put out a new album, I listened to it, and I just fucking put it on and I started driving. Like, it's not even like you skip through to find a good track anymore. You just listen to it and hope. just weed out the shit songs by adding them to a playlist. But yeah, it's much different now than it was then. Also because I can listen to 20, 30 albums, and even if 15 of them suck and 5 are good, it still only costs me $15 a month. Or
right.
I do a family plan, so it costs me like $2.68 a month.
Yeah, but the issue is that you're not discovering new music, and that's the problem is the algorithms. The algorithms are what's fucked up.
Yeah.
It used to be, so there was your top 40 radio, that there was your breakouts by the different types, your country stations, your rock stations, whatever. But all of those things were heavily curated because the playlists were essentially paid for. It's like, here's where you get the people who are putting the money into, play this album by this band, and we'll give it a little extra kickdown and everything. But you had college radio, you had your AM stuff where they could be a little bit more experimental. They could play the whole side of a Van Halen album, or they could play like this weird obscure song you never heard anywhere, and you wouldn't be able to find unless you went to an actual fucking record store and searched through imports. That was a big thing. Now, because music is so instantaneous in our hands, we're not putting the drive into going and really searching for it. And we're trusting playlists that are already pre-curated to give us something to listen to. It's like going through Netflix and saying, oh, you like this movie? Well, then you probably like this movie. No, I think I'll probably fucking hate that movie. But you're still putting it in front of me because it's the same movie you're putting in front of everybody else who likes a little bit of this genre. And you got 1,800 other movies in the background that I can't even fucking see or get to unless I do some specialized search and go and try to find it myself. It is, unfortunately, it's not the cream rising to the top. It's just somebody decided that this is what people want, and we're just going to push that in front of you. I will occasionally find stuff by following the rabbit hole down as deep as I can, and like I play a YouTube video and then it recommends some other YouTube videos. But I find I listen to a lot of music that I would not normally listen to because it's pushing these things up to the top for me. And it's because that's the same stuff it's trying to push towards everybody else. And they're the ones that are getting the ads, and they're getting the people to click on them. That's fine, but it's kind of up to me to decide to go look for something better. The only thing that has really been a discovery tool for me in the last couple of years has been shows on the channel FX or FXX, because the people who are picking the music for those shows, and especially what they end on, it seems like they always ring like, oh, I've never heard that before. And it turns out it's like from 6 years ago or 10 years ago, or sometimes even from the 70s. Like, hey, that's pretty cool. And I'll pick up some weird French singer that I would never have found on my own, but because the hook caught me on this one scene in the show, it's like, great, I'll give that a shot. And then all of a sudden I'm listening to the whole album, and then I'm getting links to stuff based around that are very different from what I would find on my own, because I'm 46 and I'm listening to the same goddamn albums that I've listened to since the 80s.
Hell yeah. God, I miss record stores so much. I could spend, oh God, we used to spend hours in Tower Records. It was such an amazing destination.
When you just buy something based off the cover.
Oh God, yeah.
You had no idea.
You hadn't even heard of before. It's just like it looked cool. So you figured you'd give it a shot.
Now that vinyl's made a comeback, going to record stores is a little more prevalent.
Dude, I saved all my vinyl. I have my dad's old vinyl, like from the 70s. Like
so my dad...
Jefferson Airplane, and oh God, I have such good stuff.
When my dad was like, hey, go through all my records, because I started collecting vinyl, I went down to his basement, and I'm like, there's so much shit here. And I said, where's all your Rush albums and your Kiss albums? He goes, well, I got rid of them to buy CDs. And he goes, had I known it would have made a comeback, I would have hung on to them. It's like, well, you fucker,
my dad
that's what
was
I wanted.
Smart. He bought CDs of the albums he already had so that he could have, that digital sound quality, which you go back and listen to vinyl and it's just, oh God.
He kept some,
so
like he has the Beatles, what is it, Yesterday and Today? He has the Butcher album, the Butcher cover.
Whoa.
Which is worth like an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
He has that framed. He has signed Ozzy Bark at the Moon.
Get out, dude, that's awesome.
Dude, my dad, so he's nearing 70. So when we bought this house and it has a finished basement, he started like unloading his shit. I have a fucking original Kiss pinball machine in my basement.
Oh my God, that is epic.
First concert I ever went to, my dad took me to when I was 12 years old, Kiss. Like, he's and that's where like my love of music came from. My dad worked at a record store before I was born. So he has the Kiss comic book with the blood and the red ink. So it's like he has so much super awesome shit. So like that's obviously music has always been such a huge part of my life and why I still play in a band to this day. It's like I work a fucking white collar corporate America job like you were talking about before we started recording. But I still play in a band I play in a band to forget I have a mortgage.
Yeah, right.
Like I drive 2.5 hours to have band practice to hang out with my 4 best friends to forget that one day a month I owe the white man $2,000 to live in a fucking house. So and that's my love of music has always come from my dad. He used to play music so loud that it would scare me.
That's awesome.
And now I'm like I started wearing earplugs because I started to notice that it was fucking with my hearing, not because it was too loud, but yeah. Music's
my uncle Charles, who is one of my lifetime heroes and has played in bands as long as I can remember, and actually performed our wedding. He, as in he married us. He was the Reverend, but he bought the oldest record shop in Grand Rapids and basically turned it into a museum. So it's Dodd's Record Shop, Museum of Music and Memorabilia. And so he kind of makes his own hours and stuff, but it's a record store, and he will go and he will find stuff for people and get them the albums and stuff they're looking for. But even without that, it encourages people to come in and discover music and kind of like tour a record shop like you would tour a preserve or a government sanctioned wildlife sanctuary or something. It's so interesting because music is not shared anymore. We don't have a sharing music experience like we used to. Occasionally, yeah, you might still go to a concert, but a lot of music that we drive down the road and we'd all pile up in a car as teenagers and listen to it, have the windows rolled down and cruise the strip and stuff. That goes away. And now we're stuck in headphones, and our music experience is what we're looking at in front of our computers or listening to off of our phones. And it's a completely different story than when we used to, like, when your friends would have a tape and like, hey, fucking check this tape out, or we make mixtapes for each other. Like one of the first things when I were dating, I made my wife a mixtape for our 2-year anniversary when we were first dating, and it changed the status of our relationship.
Of course it did. That's epic.
Yeah.
Now it's playlists, Corey.
Right. Well, but it
still.
was a mixed CD, but it was the first time that we did that, and it was stuff that I thought she liked and then what I liked, and kind of mixed together. And I do little intersects of like samples from out of shows and stuff that we watched, and I've done that a couple of times, and I owe her another one. But
I remember
there was something about sharing music, and sharing music isn't really what we do anymore.
No, I agree. I remember when someone came over I was obviously still living with my parents, but he brought over Metallica's "And Justice for All," and he's like, "Yeah, listen to this guitar solo. It sounds like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers song." I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And I was like, "But this is really fucking interesting." And then he played Master of Puppets, and my world was never.
Oh yeah.
God, now I'm fucking depressed.
Yeah, no, like getting the
like not for real, but a little bit.
The ability to have everything so quickly is kind of depressing, because there's nothing like cool. There's nothing cool involved to like finding the new thing, because someone's found it already.
You know what I do though? I still buy CDs. I swap out the CDs in my CD player in my car. I still have a friggin' boombox in my basement. I'll hunt for CDs and stuff at flea markets and yard sales, because I dig it. And yeah, I can get that stuff. We have a family account on Apple Music for my kid and her boyfriend and stuff. But I don't know, I still love hunting for it.
I hate CDs because I don't want to change them out. So I do listen to Spotify in my car, but I still, go through like the related artists of someone I like to find someone I've never heard of. So like this band Greyhaven, brand new band, never heard of them. Apparently they're like the new Epitaph band, fucking amazing. But I had to searched high and low to find a new band and came up with them. This band Stay Asleep. I don't know how much you're into like really insane chaotic music, but they
sometimes it depends on the mood. Yeah,
they're like nobody's from Chicago, and some dude at Metal Sucks found them and was like, "Hey, these guys are really good. Here's their entire album." So I bought the vinyl, and it comes with a download card. I would rather buy vinyl and like then listen to the album on Spotify, because then they're double dipping, because I know what you get from Spotify, because I get nothing from Spotify. But it's just like to have that big record, and I prefer when they're not black, because we're not living in the fucking 80s. You can press color these days. Like a friend of mine's band Young Bull in Kansas City, they're pressing vinyl, so it's like I'm obviously gonna buy that, but I just like big colorful collectibles.
Sometimes I am very trapped in the 80s with my music. I have Sirius. Yeah. And I will have First Wave on nonstop, and it's
there's nothing wrong with that. David Hasselhoff released a song in 2015. Yeah, David Hasselhoff put out True Survivor for Kung Fury in 2015, and as of late, like that is when I'm driving to the fucking gym, that is my power song. Like I listen to that, and I know it's really funny to think of as some fucking tattooed death metal dude, but yeah, I'm fucking belting out David Hasselhoff on my way to lift very heavy weights.
Yeah, whatever works.
No, totally. And it's like, it's such a cheesy, terrible song, but Deana, since you know very little about me, I play in a band called Drown the Lifeguard. I have David Hasselhoff on my bass drum.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like, it's just kind of funny that it comes full circle, that like that is now what I listen to get really excited to like pick shit up and put it down.
My ex-husband's a musician, so I spent a very long amount of time being den mother to all the guys in the different bands he was in.
Yeah, Sometimes I feel bad for my wife. I'm like, hey, we're gonna go do this. And these people are gonna stay at our house, and this is gonna happen. She's been very, very understanding. She just goes to bed.
Yeah. Like, and she takes your Amazon money to rescue rabbits, and you better fucking be thankful.
So she totally like backhanded me when I was like, hey, you're welcome. She's like, well, I'll write you a check. I'm like, no, that's not the fucking point. That's not the fucking point. But yeah. Anyways.
You know what's funny is all this conversation led very well into the movie that we're reviewing this week.
Did it? So too. Yeah, I think it did. We're talking about nostalgia. We're talking about,
that's true.
You know, what appeals to us and how things used to be. I think it flows very well.
See, and I'm clearly the only one drinking here because none of that, until you pointed it out, didn't get it.
What did I say, Deana? What did I say at the beginning? And halfway through the show, Matt is going to have forgotten that he is on this fucking show.
Which is really funny because when they're talking about board games, and I'm totally going to jump right to the middle of the movie before we get anywhere into it.
The movie is called Beyond the Gates.
That's true. But he says something about the games, VCR board games. He says Nightmare.
Yep.
And I fucking owned Nightmare, and I remember being terrified of it because I was like fucking 8 when it came out.
Yeah, that ghoul face guy that would just yell at you from the screen.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
So Beyond the Gates, and Deana, I want to apologize because we had picked this movie before we knew that you were going to be able to be on with us this week. Usually, I like the guests to be able to choose a movie that they're going to review with us, at least the first time.
No, she just has to come back and pick one the next time.
Well, I fucked up because I screwed up the schedule the first time you guys invited me to come on. So I liked that you guys gave me a movie, and it's something I hadn't seen nor heard of before, and I like indie films. So I was totally cool with the choice.
You fucked nothing up.
Yeah.
Just know that.
We are just happy to have you here.
Yes.
But also usually I would have the guest describe the movie, which you can if you want to, or I can try to fill people in on what this is about.
I am happy to describe the movie, and then if I leave anything out or you think, you know, I didn't do it justice, you can come in over the top and fix whatever I say.
Oh, we'll interrupt you no matter what.
All right. So Beyond the Gates is a movie from 2016. Obviously, it's a horror movie or we wouldn't be talking about it. And it's the story of two brothers, Gordon and John, who clearly have a dysfunctional relationship. They are getting together because their father has been missing for about 7 months. And he ran a VHS store. So they're coming to, I have no idea where it is. I don't remember it saying where this takes place, but
I don't recall either.
The brothers meet up to deal with this store needing probably to close down. And as they're packing and cleaning, they're talking about what they wonder happened to their father. And they go into his office and they discover a VHS board game, which made me so fucking happy when I saw that because that was a big part of my childhood, that shit. And then my kid, when she was little, we would buy the DVD board game. So they start playing the game. And of course, the game is a lot more interactive than they expect because it's like possessed and evil. And you come to find out that the only way that they can find out what happened to their father is if they play this game and go beyond the gates. And I don't want to give away much more because I don't know if you want me to do spoilers, but
the whole fucking movie. We don't care about anybody.
But I want to give you guys a chance to, to chime in as well.
Nope. Yeah, you can say whatever you want. We'll talk about it after you explain the movie.
So they start playing the game and they realize something is seriously messed up because there's this creepy yet hot woman narrating the game, and all of a sudden she starts interacting with them in real time.
That hot woman is Barbara Crampton.
I know, but she looked great.
She looks fantastic.
She looked like she had stayed up for a couple days by the end of the movie.
No. I don't
Everybody
think so
had.
at all. And I think she looked like, I think she was perfect for one of those scary 80s VHS games. It was
she's from Reanimator. She's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Reanimator. So for me, this movie, like when it first started, I'm thinking, oh, this is a little bit like Tron. Oh, we're throwing in a little bit of Jumanji. It's got that 80s vibe to it. It's got a little Hellraiser feel to it. So, very, very low budget. But I really dug it. I went into it when I saw the film quality. I was like, oh, wait, I don't know what this is going to be. But I really liked it. And the brothers have to play the game. What's crazy, though, is they have to find these keys, and the keys take them beyond the gates. And eventually they get into this alternate reality or alternate universe. But all the keys they have to find are like buried deep inside the bodies of people who are part of their lives. So like the younger brother, John, his best friend, who seems like a total loser. He's, you know, that guy that always causes trouble. He drinks too much. He's starting shit. He's got a key buried deep inside his stomach. A friend that's a cop has a key buried inside his head. Like, they are killing people to try to get these keys to go beyond the gates to save their father.
Yeah. Now, the friend Hank, who has the key inside his stomach, they don't actually go to Hank to try to get the key from him. They find a voodoo doll, and in ripping open the voodoo doll, actual blood and ichor starts spewing out at them. But Hank, who is at the bar that they had hung out with earlier, and who's basically just a real dick to, I guess, an ex-girlfriend of his. Matt, I'm going to mention this, though. The girlfriend, Dahlia, played by Sarah Malakul Lane. She's from our friend's movie that we did, Who's Watching Oliver.
Really?
Yes.
She was also in Kickboxer Retaliation.
Yeah. But I was mentioning something good that she did.
No, sure. I don't see it on her Wikipedia, so I don't think it exists.
Go to IMDb. Anyway, so
Dick.
So they pull the key out of the doll, but at the bar you see Hank just opening up and just everything spraying out of him. And it's a little like they didn't really have a physical involvement with him. Whereas when Derek, who's the cop who comes over and they have to get the key out of his head, again, they find a little sort of doll thing, a head with a key sticking out of it, and they pull the key out, and then the key comes flying out of Derek's head. But they're actually witnessing it happening that time. And I believe even in a scene earlier when Derek comes over, when they're trying to say, hey, this video is really fucked up, we think this has something to do with why our dad's missing, Derek starts to develop a headache as he's walking out when he says that he doesn't see anything on the video, but all of a sudden he starts to get this shooting pain in his head. When he comes back later on and the key's in there, I think that was the point where the game like decides, oh yeah, we're going to use Derek. But it's not really explained well as to why these guys were tied in, other than there were only so many characters in this movie.
You know, and the one thing I want to say about Derek when he died, when somebody's head explodes, it is not going to be that liquid. So I did have a little bit of an issue with some of the blood, with some of the blood effects in the movie. And shame on me because it was obviously a low budget film. But if you're going to simulate somebody's head exploding, it looked like somebody threw a bucket of blood on Gordon and John. There should have been chunks and gray matter and pieces of brain and bone fragment. It shouldn't have just been all that liquid dumped on them. So I did have a little bit of an issue with with the gore effects.
The effects were not high, and I had a lot of problems with the pacing on this movie. It just seemed to move as slow as possible. I think that there was something really interesting there in the game and the revelations of abuse of the dad and all the stuff with the brothers. And even Margot, who keeps sleepwalking and has trips that she's taking with the Ambien that she's on. But it took a long time for things to actually start to happen. And then even when they did happen, it's like, oh, we found this one piece. Well, let's go to bed again. And the next day, oh, we should put the key in the spot on the game board. Let's go to bed again. And it was just constantly...
You don't want to party too much in one day, so it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but also, the going to bed, no. There's no way. Like the VHS video game starts talking to you and interacting with you. I'm not sleeping. There's no way I'm sleeping. Like, so that was a little bit that felt a little contrived. I did really like the scenes between Margot and John, though, when Gordon wasn't there. Like, I felt like like you said, there were some actual like really good acting moments in those scenes too.
Well, I feel like both of them probably, I don't know much about Graham Skipper, who played Gordon, but Chase Williamson, who played John, was in a movie that we both really liked, John Dies at the End. And Brea Grant, I remember from maybe the second season of Heroes, and she's done a lot of other stuff too, but both of them I recognized, and Gordon I really didn't know. So I don't know if maybe they were just better more experienced actors. But I agree. When they were together, it felt a little bit more compelling with what was going on. And every time Gordon was there, it just seemed a lot of going through the motions to get to the next step slowly.
Yep, totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, so I love the idea that the dad ran a VHS store and he had DVDs too. But so I'm trying to think about the timeline when the movie first opened, that whole sequence of the guts of a VCR and watching the VCR load the tape and where the tape flows within the heads of the machine. I fucking loved that. I mean, that just the 80s girl in me, it was brilliant. When they opened the store, it said 1992. I think it's amazing that his father managed to keep a VHS store operating from the early 90s until 2016. Like that's a miracle in and of itself. So
suck it, Blockbuster.
Yeah, and they said he bought the game from that Needful Things shop, is what we're going to call it, in 1991. So he must have been stocking up on stuff to put into the store for a while before he did it. But the fact that the dad was so secretive, they talk about the mom dying and the dad turning to alcohol and the alcoholism passing on to the kids. But just that they had never got to go into his office before, and the excitement that they had when they found the key to go in there and discover the stuff about him, and then they find this weird game and just follow up with it. It was that stuff I found very compelling, and I think that there was a lot to that I would have liked to have followed more. And it seems like a lot of what happened was very straightforward and just sort of stretched out. And I think that there were parts that I felt like were missed opportunities. Also, they kept forgetting Margot. Like the when they decide to go to the shop, when they find the receipt in the box, like, first of all, yeah, you open up the box and you play the game, and then you start reading the rules about 15 minutes into it. I think that's realistic, but it also, every time they say, oh, maybe we should go and look at this now. At this point in time, you should be reading everything fucking twice, because you just signed a contract with the devil and you didn't even plan on that. but here's a receipt. Let's go over to this store, and Margot's not with them. They just leave her at the house and they don't say anything about it. And then they go back and she's already asleep. It's just weird, man. You gather, you keep with each other. Shit, people are dying. You got a fucking woman on the TV who's talking to you and just pausing and waiting for 10 hours for you to take your next step. How long do you think a VHS tape goes?
What about the photo of her that showed up in a frame on the mantle?
Right. Unexplained.
That creeped me out, though. I felt like there were moments like that. I love it when it's more atmospheric horror and not so much like blood and guts in your face. I can't stand torture horror movies, so I liked that this had a really different and interesting concept. But there were some moments that for me were like, even if the effect wasn't great, that tiny little moment when all of a sudden there's a picture of her on the mantle, that, like, I felt real fear when that picture showed up. So I really liked that. I was very proud that moment was in there, because it really scared me.
Yeah, and they at least had established before that Gordon had gone through the pictures on the mantle,
right?
And then the one of him had fallen over. So there was at least a moment. Oh, well, this is new. This wasn't here yesterday.
Matt, what did you think of it?
I actually thought it was really good. I mean, the simple fact that it brought back, I know you guys were older, but my much younger days of VHS board games, like, I thought that was really fucking cool that they brought that back. Like I said, I had played Nightmare when I was a kid, and I remember sitting down and just watching the tape only, because obviously you can't change the tape. It is what it is. Only to see the dude like turn into a skeleton. So I thought that was really cool. And I still love board games. We've watched so many movies that try to be gorier than the last or just more outrageous than the last. It was really nice to watch one that isn't trying to be more than the last movie you've watched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that, coupled with the fact of board games, which I like, and VHS board games, which I also like, it was really nice. You know what I mean? Like, is it weird that I like this movie more because it was just kind of less than everything else we've watched as of late?
No, I don't think that sometimes when you have the giant huge scope film, you want to temper it by watching something that's a little bit more laid back. This does fall into some of the other things that we've watched before. John dies at the end, The Void, what was the Pontypool, which
I haven't seen that one. My friend of mine told me I need to watch that.
It's pretty good.
I love that movie. But those are more intimate movies where, while there's a bigger story going outside in Pontypool, it's still like it's enclosed into a very kind of smallish space. It all sort of stays there, so it's easy to follow, and you've only got a few characters that you're keeping up with.
We covered Pontypool on episode 29.
Yeah,
that's weird to think about.
It's been a while.
Fucking A. March 8th, 2016.
But that's kind of why I thought of this when I kept seeing it pop up in my recommendations. Fucking algorithms again. On Netflix, it felt like, oh sure, this is something that is probably going to be closer to akin to those things. It's going to feel as though it's Matt, did we have to restart that?
No, we're good. It didn't stop recording. It just got me giggling blankly to nobody else. And that's going to be in the episode because I'm too lazy to edit it.
You're wonderful. I because these were sort of throwbacks movies, the Void and stuff, and I've enjoyed those. So I saw this and I thought, okay, a VHS game leading the horror movie, that could be cool. That could be fun.
And I don't know about you, Deana, but I knew nothing about this movie. Which is,
I didn't either. And I didn't look, I didn't do any research. I went into it blind. You said it was on Netflix. I brought it up on Netflix, and instantly that opening sequence of inside the VCR, I was excited because I felt like this is going to be a throwback, and I love anything retro. I love anything 80s. But I really liked it. I mean, yeah, it was, it was a definitely small budget. I don't think there's anything wrong with low budget films. It had some pacing issues. I thought Brie Grant and Chase Williamson were really great. I think both of them, I've seen Chase in other films, and I didn't realize where I recognized Brie from until, Corey, you just mentioned she was in Heroes. And then I was like, oh my God, now I know who she is. So I thought they were both really, really good, and, could probably do more in bigger things too. But I like horror that's subtle and understated. I like horror that's dark and funny, and I feel like this covered all those bases for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to follow it up. This is one of those things where I think a sequel would be able to do so much because there wasn't a lot explored in this, and there's a lot of things like Matt and I have talked before about how we like to get more answers. This certainly accomplished everything it needed to for the story of these guys, but the idea of this tape still existing, it becomes a little bit like The Ring, where the tape goes back out there and someone else comes and buys it, and it goes on to the next person and they develop their story. But if the game can change, if it becomes more like Jumanji, where it does something a little bit different in each iteration, then that could be fun to see with the origins of the game, the story of why it is that it is. That
they almost have
is compelling.
If they want to do another one, because they completed the game,
right? And nobody had completed the game before.
Nope.
And I feel like if you go with the sequel, then you have someone who doesn't complete the game. You go the opposite route.
Well, they left it open for a sequel for sure.
Yeah. And the director teased a sequel back in late 2017, so not that terribly long ago. I'm sure there'll be another one, because why fucking not?
Well, it was from, I think it was associated with the IFC, the Independent Film Channel.
I think so.
So I don't know if it was something that was meant to be made for their channel, or if it was they just developed the film and put it out there, and they'll have the rights to it when it starts playing on regular cable. But yeah, it seems worth it for them to be able to follow up and do something else with it.
So apparently they've already planned on a sequel.
Good.
And Brian Usna is producing it. Now, when that actually comes out, or what? It's so I don't know. It's fucking sad because a lot of times people announce movies or movies get announced or producers say they want to do a movie and then it's 6-8 years later because of whatever stupid horse shit. I hate people in general.
I say that at least once a week.
Yeah, I know. A lot of times I'm like, I really want to go to this thing. And then I go there and I'm like, I fucking hate everybody here. Sorry.
I do want to say that anybody who's interested, the original Nightmare game, you can watch the entire VHS. It's broken up into 7 parts on YouTube.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm literally texting my brother right now because he's the one that bought it, and I said they made a 2 through 4 also, which you can buy on eBay.
I need to watch it at midnight with total movie effect, all the lights off in the house.
It does look like there's a Nightmare 4 video on YouTube. It's about an hour and 8 minutes.
Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah, it looks like the ever youthful princess from the Neverending Story if she grew up to be Mia Sarah's character in Legend.
Guys, can I tell you a secret? Newfound Glory covering Neverending Story. One of my favorite songs.
I could see that.
Yep, I fucking love that.
That's a good cover. I have a Neverending Story tattoo.
I had Newfound Glories from the screen to the stereo on vinyl until I found out it was worth a ton of money.
And then you sold it?
Fuck yes, I did. Because I am not above money.
Because the reality is dad's album that's in the wall.
Don't you dare sell your dad's album.
No. I have Steppenwolf 4 I took from my dad. I kept that one. I don't have any of the other super expensive ones he has. Those are still on his wall.
Good.
But then that's the thing. I've said I never sell a gift or something I've gotten from one of my parents. So like that Kiss pinball machine, I will never sell it.
Oh God, no.
No, fuck no. And that thing,
you'll just give it to me.
The glass panel alone is worth like $600 or $700.
You got to post pictures of that online so I can see it.
Well, they're on my grams, Brosh.
Oh, I don't follow. I have to start following people on Instagram, dude. I didn't even do Twitter until I launched the podcast.
Is your Instagram Twisted Philly?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we would get to a point in which you would tell people that, but I'm trying to like follow you right now, and then fuck, my internet's stupid. I'm throwing a fit right now. Corey, where are we in this movie? What day of the week is it?
It's
Sunday.
Farce Day. No, I don't know what else of the plot there really is. We're set out with these cards in the game. So you see the first card, which represents Hank. Is it
Hank seems like a prick.
Yeah, Hank seems like a prick name. It just seems like if you're a guy named Hank and you got that kind of fucking butt curl up on the front of your face and shit, you're born to be an asshole. You're made for this character. So we get the first card in Hank, and then we see the next cards, and it lays out pretty smoothly that, the next one, who does that look like? Well, it looks like Derek, because there's only been 3 other people in this fucking movie so far. And then the next one is the maiden, and that's Margot automatically, because you're the only woman here. And then the father, which is what the whole fucking game's about. It's a little like, if you're the next group to play this game, you're going to be hard pressed to, like, hopefully you all come in with that kind of like round set of people that you know to fill those roles.
I mean, it's a movie, so
yeah, I know.
It's calm fucking down, Corey.
I'm trying to put real world logic into a game about a VHS tape, which obviously, if it was at all good, it would have been on beta because it's a superior format. Don't fucking live in lies.
We all know you're old as fuck. Don't make it any worse.
Dude, I'm even older than Corey.
No, you're not.
Oh, I am. I'm going to be 49 this summer.
No, you're not.
I'm not ashamed of my age. I earned every one of these
You
years.
shouldn't be ashamed of your age. We just like Corey to feel bad about himself.
Oh.
And I do.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
Deana, you are 27 at heart.
Oh, thank you.
I mean that with every fiber of my drunk being.
Whereas I'm 64.
Yeah. Corey is 112. If you get him on the right day, shit doesn't work anymore. But I've got the colon
of a 97-year-old, so it's all the better.
just I can poop with the best of them.
Exactly what I can't do. Yeah, the The shop, I really like the shop. I would have liked to spend more time in the shop.
I did too.
Yeah, the
those independent VHS stores were the best.
Oh, that shop. I was talking about the weird antique shop where the game keeps popping up.
I thought you were talking about the VHS store.
Well, we can get back to the VHS store, but I just would like to say that I'm guessing the guy who owned the weird antique shop was voted most likely to be a pedophile in his high school class.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
The character's name is Elric. Like, how fucking on the nose do you have to be? You have your devil evil thing shop, and the guy who runs it is named Elric, and just looks straight up like he's cosplaying at a fucking high school Vampire the Masquerade group. That all of the people are like, we're all 15, and here's 40-year-old Elric coming walking in again. Like, he's the baddest toreador of the motherfuckers.
Oh man, yeah, Elric seemed like he probably knows the taste of a penis.
By the way, I said toreador. He's obviously La Sombra, but fuck you, anyways, Elric.
Wow, I don't think he was that bad of a human being, but apparently you disagree. Yeah, so what about the VHS store? Did you just wish there would have been more there?
I just loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a great location, and to just have it just be filled up with the stacks of VHS, like it was the kind of place that you want to go into and explore. Alaska has their last blockbuster that there's this big movement to save. Like John Oliver had mentioned it and was sending him a bunch of stuff, I think, from the Russell Crowe auction that he did, trying to sell his life to pay off his alimony. And but it's like what my uncle did with the music store. It's turned it into a museum. You look at something like that, and there is just so much there that you could explore. You could spend years just trying to get through all those different movies. If you just pick a genre, you could probably spend the next couple of years trying to get through all that stuff. And I love the scene where the Derek character was like, this is a movie that made me want to be a cop. And they're like, yeah, it's a pretty bad cop movie. And the other guy's like, he's a pretty shitty cop. But I totally get that, because the kind of shit that we used to watch when I was a kid, the stuff that you would just go and same thing. It like I'm at fucking Blockbuster. It doesn't matter if the movie looks good or bad, because you can't tell. It's like, we're gonna watch the Barbarian twins in this movie. We're gonna get into this and fucking eat it up and love it. And then nobody will be talking about that movie 20 years from now. But in my mind, it's still as relevant today as it was when I was 14 with my friends beating each other up with PVC pipe.
Yeah. I mean, we had talked about Slumber Party Massacre 2, which was definitely one of those movies for me.
Oh, yeah.
We went to, I don't know if either of you had family videos. Corey, you may have. Deana, I don't know.
We had a family video. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we would go to family video and just kind of stumble around the horror section until we found something, and that was one of those movies. And we were lucky enough to have a guest choose it somewhere a long time ago. I can't find it. Yeah.
It was
June 28th.
Right. It was Casey, right?
2016. Yeah, it was Casey, the Homicide of Holmaker.
Yep.
Those are the days.
She is great. But yeah, we still have a video store in the next town for me, in Petaluma, which is probably not exactly convenient to just go stop into. And I don't know what I get, but my wife all the time is watching the crazy, stupidest horror movies. Your wife constantly.
Your wife, bless her heart, I love Erin as much as you do, but she also draws dicks for a living.
I hope not as much as I do, but she does draw dicks.
She does. What does she do?
Draws dicks for a living.
No, but I mean, like, you don't just draw a dick. There needs to be a context or purpose.
It's mostly to display how ugly the dick is. I don't know. It's not attractive. It doesn't make it easier to eat when they're up on my fucking walls all the time. No, my wife started drawing like a lot of different stuff, but then she got kind of discovered by some people, and she started doing weird, creepy style horror stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah, like the zombie painting behind me is something that she did just.
I love that. Kids. It's absolutely beautiful.
I like it. I don't even know if she realizes it's in here, but yeah, then she started getting like weirder and weirder stuff, and it's all very grotesque. But she's built up a huge audience, which is great. You know, it's like so many people I know are like, your wife is really talented. I can't look at her stuff, but she's so good at it. It just makes me feel really weird inside. But she found the people who like that, and that's awesome. But again, my wife, she comes home, she turns on whatever fucking horror movie she wants. She was watching the original It miniseries from TV the other day.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask her because I came in and it was the second part, so it's all the adults and everything. And I wanted to say, well, did you watch the first part of the modern one and then watch this as the follow up because it's all we've got right now, or did you go through the whole thing? Because I know she watched the remake just a couple weeks ago. I came and she had that on too. But the stuff like the stuff that is the lowest rated on Netflix, or the things that you'd find, we have a Shudder subscription. There's also this other service out there called Screambox that I just found out about. That the ratings and stuff I've seen on Screambox is that it's like really off the wall, not anything that you'd recognize stuff. But that's exactly what she would love. She would get the most grotesque, extreme things and watch those all the time. She watches the sequels to Sleepaway Camp more than the original Sleepaway Camp. The ones that star Bruce Springsteen's sister. They are so terrible. But she loves those fucking movies. And I don't know if it's because she watched them as a kid or if it's just that's the kind of shit that she's into. But always on. I come in and it's just like, oh, here's someone's brain getting ripped open. And I'm like, I just got home from work. This is what I thought about all day. I don't need to come home and actually see a visual representation of myself. And then she rewinds it because she wasn't paying enough attention. She's like, I just want to see if I missed a part. You don't care if you missed a part. We got to the fucking autopsy of a living head getting its fucking brain scooped out. There's no mystery here. I don't know. Buy a real doll. Cover with fake human flesh.
So I did this about an hour and a half late. Blame beer. We actually have a new iTunes review. I feel like we're wrapping up the movie discussion. Am I right?
I think so.
I'm right. Okay. Then
not a lot happened in this movie. It's not long.
No, it's hour and 22 minutes, I believe.
Yeah, about that. And it's pretty cut and dry. So other than atmosphere, I think it's not a lot of surprises, but it's interesting. So we'll talk about it. But your review, sir.
Yeah. So because normally I check this before we start, but I thought about it about an hour and a half into recording this. We have an iTunes review from Irish with an exclamation point. And the fact that I just saw this and it was apparently from October 11th, 2017 reminds me of the fact that fucking iTunes doesn't let these show up for 6 goddamn months.
Irish. At least iTunes would be better.
I am not going to say anything to that. But he just says, normal guys having conversations all about horror topics we enjoy to get away from the politics and other worries of the world. Yeah, really happy we can do that for you. Sometimes we talk about politics. So
we're trying to do it,
but it's usually just
there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah, but usually it's just us complaining about things that have happened. But yeah, the last thing I want to talk about is fucking politics because
I agree. It's nice to have an escape from it. It's overwhelming. No matter which side you're on, it seems like it's slamming into you all the time. And for us to be, we're not going to develop anything that's going to make it better.
Yeah, and we do this to get away from politics.
No, I do this because I like hanging out with you.
I mean, I like hanging out with you too, Corey.
Yeah, you can say it now, but it sounds really half-assed when I'm the one who had to say it first.
Make things weird.
Tell where the love came
friends. I don't like to fight in front of our friends, and right now we're doing that.
Oh, Deana doesn't like you.
Just wait until we get home to do this.
You're gonna be hearing about it for the next fucking. Sleep on the couch.
Oh my god!
Not with the dogs either. The dogs are sleeping with me. God, you're alone on the couch because then I can tell you if it's you that's peeing on the couch because I think it is.
Sometimes I have just one too many beers, and it's just the way it is.
One too many. Okay, yeah. First of all, you can't count.
Well, when you only have one, but it's the size of 4,
She's not wrong. I will tell you what. I'll level with you guys. I have never gotten so drunk that I have peed in not a toilet. I know people who have. I am not one of them.
So what you're saying is you were sober when you did it. That's worse.
Because at that point, it's a little fun little excursion. I'm also drunk enough.
I don't even think that's a word. What did you just say?
I'm trying to say excursion or extrusion.
I said excursion.
Oh, excursion. Okay.
It sounds like
extrusion.
It sounds like some sort of like attachment for your Play-Doh play set. It's like it's an extrusion
An extruder.
like, and then it becomes like macaroni coming out. It's beautiful.
It makes hair for Weebles.
Yes. But unlike Weebles, Matt does fall down.
I do. I'm a pretty big dude, so when I fall down, it makes a big boom.
Don't boom boom on the couch.
On your shirt?
Do I what?
You have Skeksis on your shirt?
I don't know. It's a death shirt.
Oh my god! The way it was wrinkled, and I don't know my glasses on, but it looked like the Skeksis from the Dark Crystal.
Don't know.
I don't know. There's shadows and all kinds of shit. I don't know. I thought you had a shirt with Skeksis on it.
Yeah.
Crystal. I cannot spell.
Wait a minute. You don't know what I'm talking about? You've never seen the Dark Crystal?
Matt also doesn't have wings because he's a boy.
How do you spell Skeksis, guys? Oh, there it is.
Just type in Dark Crystal and then click on images.
Like excrusion.
Oh, I see what you're saying here. I have seen the Dark Crystal like once or twice. No, it's dark as fuck. The band Death just puts like a weird.
Yeah, that's what made me think of the Skeksis.
No, Death is a very prominent 90s death metal band.
No, I really thought they were total gospel.
Everyone should listen to the band Death. And if you can't get enough Death, listen to the band Gruesome. They literally sound like 90s death.
Or if you enjoy music, Michael Jackson, Off the Wall.
Or if you enjoy good music, listen to Death. I love Death so much.
Also produced by Quincy Jones.
They're not. They're not.
All right, Matt, do you want to get to the rating of this movie?
I guess.
Deana, you can go first. Our rating system, we had to go simple again because, like, when Matt drinks a beer, he doesn't worry about it has a nice head to it, and it's a heady mouthfeel. He's like, it was fucking good. So our system is very simple. It's 0 to 5.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
That is solid.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, it gets the little extra half because of that opening sequence inside the VCR and just the whole concept of a VHS board game being the whole center theme of the movie. And I thought John and Margot were good characters, good actors.
You like to see him in a pornography?
No. I mean, I do enjoy porn.
I'm not saying you don't have to.
He's certainly an attractive guy, but not my type.
You're more into her than him?
No, he's a little tiny, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but he just seems like trim and petite, and I like guys with a little more meat on them.
Nothing wrong with that. Women do enjoy men that can throw them around.
Yeah.
I like just seeing Corey shake his head when I make comments. I didn't mean that in like a violent or a mean way. Sometimes,
No, I didn't take it in a violent or mean way either. I didn't take it that way at all.
No, and I'm glad because since you're readily here, unfortunately, there's like 8 people around the world who are going to listen to this. And
women like a man who will rinse her out at a car wash. That's basically what Matt is saying.
I like a man that's going to pee on me at the end of the night.
But not drunkenly. It's not a mistake.
No, I'd like him to aim
full intent.
Aim direct and true right into my forehead. Corey, what did you think of this movie?
I'm gonna be a little bit harsher to it. I'm gonna go with a 2. I really had problems with the pacing. Yeah, I know, and I'm not usually that guy.
Your fucking pick.
I picked it unseen. I felt like watching it took too long to get things to actually happen. There was a lot in it that I liked. There's a lot of potential, and I certainly enjoyed the actors in it. I just felt like, for me, if I watch it again, I'm gonna have to do like a podcast and listen to it at 2.5 times speed.
You're a prick, sir.
Except when I listen to the Wii Studios podcast and then I go forward in time.
Did they release something today, didn't they?
They released the first episode that they ever did with all the cut parts and some extras. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I'm very excited. And they also announced what their next episode is going to be coming up.
It's only an hour long. With everything cut, it's only an hour long.
Yeah, but it was their first episode. It was when they were still trying to appear professional.
Yeah, well, how long was our
Remember our shows were like?
Oh, my first episode was 26 minutes without you, which... Oh, no. I shouldn't say that.
I love how excited you got when you said without me, though. That was beautiful.
Fuck you.
Not even on the couch. Outside. You were sleeping outside, sir. It's warm enough for your cold, dead heart.
Grant and I were going to record another episode, but now we have a funeral on Friday.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. No, one of the guitar players in my band, very, very, very good dear friend of mine, his mother passed away this morning. And Grant, JR, and I were in a band together. It's JR's mom who passed away. JR's mother's funeral's on Friday, and Grant was supposed to come over because now we all live apart instead of nearby. But Grant and I are still going to do another Wolf Cop, which will likely be released while we're on our break. So don't fucking know when that's coming out because I don't know. Sometime this summer. Just when you forget we exist. That's when it'll show up.
Speaking of forgetting, Matt was going to give this movie a score.
3.5.
3.5.
I didn't forget. I ranked it long before I started drinking. Yeah, a lot of what Deana said, only because then I don't have to re-explain it.
Effort.
It was
trying.
It was,
Lucidity. Nah.
Yeah, I like board games. I like VHS board games. I like Nightmare, and it kind of it was a new concept for horror. It wasn't a big slasher or a possession or anything of that nature. It was a new concept which I really enjoyed. 3.5.
Yay!
Solid.
Corey, you're the asshole here.
I am, and I'm okay with that because, like I've always said, I'm hardly ever right. I'm wrong a lot.
Well, you're married too, so I can't be like, well, I'm married. I don't know shit. So you're married too. You know the same hardships.
It's tough dealing with that awkward feeling of being loved unconditionally by someone.
What?
Yeah, I know. My description of marriage is probably very different from your description of marriage. That's why I rated it at 2.
Oh, I'm gonna try and pee on my wife tonight.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, it's not totally not gonna happen. Neither of us want it to happen. It was a joke. I made it funny on the internet. I'll just be
What
happy.
if she says yes? What if you just like
right? Just to shock the shit out of her. I hope she does say yes.
Well, the thing is we would get to the point like it would be like it would be a terrible game of chicken. One of us, I would see until one of us gives up, and it would likely be me. Or the rubber sheets are out, and she's.
How hard do you have to try to pee? Like I have had stones, and yet I still pulled it off. But you, like, it seems like it'd be natural. It'd be just the same as her saying, "Don't come yet," and then all of a sudden you're like your little wet pants in front of her, like
you're 45 seconds late.
Yeah.
You said pee, and I had to pee.
Right.
My bladder was like.
You've already gone once on the show.
We're nearing number 2. I drank a lot of water, and I've had a lot of beer tonight, guys. This is
nice.
The most I've had since the last time Matt Vincent was on.
Oh, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, and one of them was the size of something a girl would put up her butt for fun. Corey, do you want to read the outro?
The size he's referring to is Nebraska. Hey, so you can contact us by leaving us a voicemail at 805-328-3966. That's 805-328-3966. Unless we're going at 2.5 times speed, which is... you can email us at PoT@gncast.com or leave us a message on the website. You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're at Podcast of Terror in all those places. And you can leave a review on iTunes. And sometime in the aftermath of the apocalypse, it might actually show up, and then Matt can read it on the air in the middle of a show when he doesn't even fucking pay attention to what we're doing.
Dude, how many?
Stitcher, Google Play. They've all got places where you can leave reviews, or you can go to bit.ly/PoT review and leave one there. And damn the iTunes and all that shit. It's a completely independent place. It is more for just podcast reviews that are independent from the podcatchers.
Fucker in the pussy.
That's exactly what your review should say. And we won't know what to do with that information. All subscription options and links can be found at gncast.com/subscribe. And you can join the Galactic Network's Facebook group just by looking for them there.
Also, if you want to apparently support my wife's animal rescue, go to amazon.podcastster.com. Shop as you normally would. That'll give us a kickback, which she will spend buying animal things, and feel better about yourself when you go to bed at night.
That's how I like to do it.
Deana, where can people find you, your show, anything? And literally, you could tell people what you want right now. You could tell them McDonald's, and people would believe you.
Yeah, I don't eat McDonald's, but
don't blame me.
You can find Twisted Philly wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on Twitter at @twisted_Philly, and on Facebook at the Twisted Philly Podcast, and on Instagram at Twisted Philly. And I just want to say thanks, guys. This was a fucking good time.
Not something I hear a lot of. Yeah. So
no, man, I would love to come back, and I promise I won't screw up the dates and times and everything again.
We'll have you back after our break for sure.
Sounds good.
When it's starting to get cold out, and I don't feel bad about not being outside. But you're in the same boat. Corey's the only one of us that lives in a temperature controlled climate where he can go out 365 days a year with his nipples out.
Yeah, unless it's literally on fire, or we get rain the one time every 5 years and it destroys the entire fucking state.
I was in San Francisco in, let's see,
I'm sorry,
97, and couldn't get back to the airport because of a mudslide that took out a house, and the mud and the house were all over the highway. So Corey's got some shit to deal with too.
And I'm in that lovely middle ground where I can drive 20 miles in under an hour, but if I try to drive 30 miles, it's going to take 2 hours.
He's not lying. I was out in San Francisco for work. He came to visit me. It's a fucking nightmare. I'm actually, I think the conference I went to last year is like in 2 weeks, but I won't be there. Sorry, buddy.
That's okay.
I don't blame you. I hate that town. That place is fucking terrible.
It's challenging.
You go right or left out of your hotel room and it is homeless.
But like I said, cars full of guys with no shirts and tattoos. Everywhere you look, it's a wonderland.
When Travis's buddy and I went to meet you, no shirts.
Yep.
Sweaty, nipples glistening in the sun. It was good. I rubbed the In-N-Out grease from a cheeseburger on my nipples. Corey, where can people find you on the internet?
I don't know, man.
I'm about to pee myself, so we gotta wrap this up.
I have a show about geek culture news called Elts Nerds. I have a show where we wax philosophic about lots of different stuff, sometimes butt sex, sometimes personal privacy, called Solutions to Fix the Universe.
Surprise butt sex?
Exists. It's never intentional butt sex.
Have you ever seen the surprise butt sex video?
No.
Sweet Jesus, you need to see it. It's like a Steam filmmaker video and surprise butt sex, and there's a song. Look it up.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not watching that.
No, you really should. There is not in surprise insertion. I'm too drunk.
Okay.
Happen. The guy just yells surprise butt sex, and then there's a song involved. I just taught everyone how to make babies. If you're watching the video.
I really figured that surprise butt sex, the type of song, it's going to be a dirge. It's just.
Oh my god, how brilliant would that be?
Yeah. Hoorah, butt sex. Yeah, this should be fun. Light, bouncy, easy to dance to. Lose your inner virginity. Matt, do we have a guest next week?
I don't know.
Really?
I think so. He has not responded to me yet. I don't want to say it in case it doesn't work out, because next Sunday's Mother's Day. So he has a wife with a child. It's supposed to be Mike Beach. I totally dimed him out. It's supposed to be Mike Beach. I don't know what we're supposed to watch. I texted him hours ago. He has not responded.
All right, so it's gonna be a mystery, kids, as to what we're gonna do.
It's either gonna be really awesome with Mike Beach or some garbage.
Yep. Oh well.
Whatever. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and on Tap Dam at the Lifeguard. Because Corey was gonna skip that because he's a prick.
I was. Absolutely was. Speaking of pricks, go follow my wife on Instagram, hag_attack. You'll see lots of penises.
Oh my god, just the most amount of dicks.
So many dicks.
And I think your wife is a total sweetheart.
She is. She's sweet on dicks.
This is where it gets weird. All right. So yeah, we may or may not have a guest next week. We may or may not actually be watching a movie next week. We'll figure it out.
3 hours in, we'll let you know what we actually are reviewing.
Absolutely. Thanks again for Deana. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thought it was a burp there. I didn't. We're good. Yeah. So thanks again for listening to another episode of the podcast. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Stay scary, everybody.